Well, a nuclear energy program is a major endeavor that has many aspects to it. But it is very clear that if Vietnam is to realize its target by 2020 to have built its first nuclear power plant and to start supplying electricity with that plant, the top priority and pressing priority is capacity building and HR training. The question is, are we going to be able quantitatively and qualitatively to do that in time? Quantitatively because operating and maintaining and ensuring the safety of a nuclear power plant is no easy thing, and we have no precedent to go by within the country, so our starting point in terms of manpower is very limited. So we really, all of us, have to learn, and so we learn from overseas mostly, you know, friendly countries that are our partners on this endeavor, Russia and Japan to start with, but also in terms of training, France and Hungary, and perhaps even a few other countries later on. And so that's quantitatively, as I was saying, already a challenge, but qualitatively it is also a challenge. Why? Because Vietnam's education system is a bit heavy on theory and thin on practice. So a challenge will be to build, you know, the operational aspect into the training in such a way that by 2020 those engineers and technicians and scientists that will be working at our first nuclear power plant will really be operational. And I know that from our government, long term, we would like to grow autonomous. So in other words, we are not training just to open one nuclear power plant, but we have a plan for 10 in total by 2030. And it means, therefore, that we will have to, post 2020, we will need to continue training. And the whole issue will be to not be just importing technology, but to be able and master that technology in the long term. That's a long-term ambition. Well, I mentioned, in fact, the main challenge being HR training and capacity building, but I would like now to add, because the safety culture. The way Vietnam has been evolving since our economic restructuring and reforms and our transition to the market economy is that we are living at a fast pace, living and working and producing with little regard to safety. So it means, therefore, that the technicians and the engineers that will be working at those nuclear power plants, we're not 100% sure that they will really, stick to the rigorously to the regulations and work by the book. The way that, say, in Japan, you would feel really assured that that's, what they are going to do. In Vietnam, we are not 100% sure. So I think there must be a systematic effort and campaign to emphasize safety and security in the training itself. not just that we need to have the right, specialized staff and personnel, but all the people working in the plant. You see what I mean? Even those who do the cleaning or whatever, they must be also aware of all the implications of nuclear energy safety. So what one of the speakers at our workshops called nuclear literacy. So nuclear literacy should not be circumscribed only to those technicians and engineers and few scientists that are directly operating the reactor, but everybody within the nuclear power plant and the population immediately surrounding the nuclear power plant, or working, as suppliers and along the whole chain, supply chain for the nuclear power plant, should become nuclear safety literate. That should be a top priority of a program that would cut across training, HR training, and public information or public education. Yeah.